What is a security? A generally accepted method of trying to figure this out is something called the Howey test. That's a Supreme Court case from the 1940s involving the US Securities and Exchange Commission. It basically outlines 4 criteria, which are an investment of money in a common enterprise with an expectation of profit to be derived from the efforts of others. Now, as far as the SEC seems to be concerned, this more or less covers all of crypto. And in 2023, it's taking its biggest steps yet to crack down on it. Regulators around the world have had something like a decade in which they could have taken action on crypto, but it's only really now that we are finally seeing them get to grips with it. Places like the UK, Europe, South Korea, Australia have all made moves in the last few weeks to bring forward new rules on crypto, and make sure you check out our other videos on what's happening in those places. But while those have been welcomed by many, there is one country in particular that everyone is watching. Stablecoin issuers and crypto service providers are being cracked down on hard in the United States. At the start of February, US-based crypto exchange Kraken said it was shutting its on-chain staking services for its American users, and it was doing so in order to settle charges with the SEC. Now, the SEC alleged that 2 of the exchange's subsidiaries had failed to register their offer and sale of their staking programs. It added that Kraken had agreed to pay $30 million as a fine as part of these charges. SEC boss Gary Gensler said afterwards, "Today's action should make clear to the marketplace that staking as a service providers must register and provide full, fair and truthful disclosure and investor protection." Now, Danny Chong from Tranchess told the Daily Forkast that while the move caught many off guard, it's not entirely surprising.
Kraken is actually quite a very well-known name, and I believe if you look at it in comparison, it probably has a lot more deeper roots, or establish a much firmer base as compared to who's out there.
Staking is very clearly in the spotlight as a result. The practice of locking up your crypto to support a network, validate transactions and generate an income seems to the SEC to clear the criteria for a security. But others disagree. Coinbase boss Brian Armstrong said that the company will, quote, happily defend its staking services in court against claims they need to be classified as securities. And Coinbase, which trades on the NASDAQ, is the biggest crypto exchange in the US.
What does it mean moving forward from here for Kraken? Does it mean to say that they are legitimized in some form or way to continue staking with a certain reform measures? It could be that. It could also mean to say that people taking motivation or taking into what's happening to Kraken, to adjust what's happening to them and maybe to work more with institutions.
Kraken, however, is not the only recent target of this crypto crackdown. It's been reported that the SEC may be about to sue Paxos. That is for allegedly violating investor protection laws in its issuance of Binance USD or BUSD stablecoin. The regulator issued a Wells notice to Paxos, alerting it about a possible enforcement action. Paxos is also reportedly being investigated by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Some have said this makes sense. Stanislav Havrilyuk of Zonda told Forkast, quote, after the FTX collapse, it's natural that the SEC is reacting by imposing more pressure and regulations on the crypto market, such as checking whether stablecoins are backed by trusted securities. But others have questioned whether the SEC may in fact be reaching beyond its jurisdiction on stablecoins. Rafael Padilla, who's a lawyer and co-founder of BlockDevs Asia, told Forkast, quote, to consider BUSD as a security is still a grey area. The US SEC's planned legal action against Paxos seems intended to test the notion that a centralized stablecoin could constitute a security. Now, the likelihood is that at some point this is going to end up in the US courts. Ripple, as we know, is already fighting the SEC over its definition as a security in the judicial system. And just like they did with the Howey test, this could end up potentially setting precedents. But there's also frustration that US lawmakers still haven't agreed on how to set rules themselves.
The enforcement that we've seen in crypto is uneven, it is arbitrary, It seems to single out random actors rather than the worst actors, and I think is in general leading to an erosion of trust in regulators and policymakers to create the conditions for this industry to succeed.
According to Chainalysis, as of November, there were some 20 bills before Congress that could potentially impact crypto. With lawmakers there bitterly divided on a raft of issues, it's plausible that none of those could make it into law for some time. And that has the potential to sow further confusion and leave more space for the SEC and maybe others to act.
With clarity, you can move forward much better. So whereas this may be seen as like negative move or it's not positive, but you need to clear this up. And once you clear this up, perhaps there may be a better way forward for everyone.
Clearing all this up may take much longer than many of us hope. In addition to any wrangling on the domestic level, there is international dissent about what to do as well. Currently, the president of the G20, India, has just said that the world's most powerful countries are discussing how to regulate crypto. Here's Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman.
In the G20, we are raising this issue and having detailed discussion with the members so that a standard operating protocol emerges after the discussions in the G20, so that there is a coherent, comprehensive, all countries working together kind of an approach in bringing some regulation.
Around the world, almost everyone seems to agree on the need for clarity. But while there continues to be such disagreement on how to get to that clarity, the crypto waters may yet become even more muddied. Alright, that's it for this video. Do like and subscribe to it if you want to see other videos like it. There is plenty more on regulation and what's happening in this space at the moment. Please let us know what you think about all of this and how it's going to impact you in the future, either in the comments below or wherever you're watching this video.